Today we hunt the LA paparazzi, learn about sex from a woman in shoulder pads, and get yet another etiquette update.
Vice Today. Bi-weekly, bite-sized doses of sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Hey, I'm Ryan Duffy, and welcome to Vice Today. On this episode, we meet another one of our weird and wonderful neighbors from the internet, sex blogger Rachel Rabbit White, on another episode of My Life Online. Then we get another round of etiquette updates from the classiest bearded blowhard we know. But right now, in the very first Vice Today special, we head out to LA and give the paparazzi a taste of their own toxic medicine. This is Pap Smear.
This way, please. Please, guys, please, this way.
Let's wait until he come out. Get your back.
I think we can all agree that paparazzi are some of the lowest forms of life on planet Earth. The ever-growing business of invading public persons' privacy and the seemingly insatiable appetite for such garbage prove that more than ever, people are looking for glimpses into lives that seem more interesting than their own.
I love you!
When Vice asked me if I wanted to write a story about this profession, I jumped at the opportunity. I had to know, were they just trying to get by? I decided to go directly to the source. Going down Melrose here where we're gonna meet the photographers. I don't know his last name, and it's probably better that way, you know? After asking various contacts, I was put in touch with Peter, a professional and somewhat jaded paparazzo who agreed to give me all the pertinent details I would need to capture my prey in exchange for his anonymity.
What is it? Like, what is a paparazzi?
To get a good shot, you need composition. You need the right lighting. If you're out of focus, you're fucked. Okay, you're not selling that photo.
He also said that there are a select few freelance photographers, such as himself, who adhere to a moral code of sorts.
Here, I'll give you a few rules. Yeah. If you're not a paparazzi, if you're not a photographer, videographer, you should probably stay away from calling us paparazzi. You're not gonna do what we call jumping. Okay, if you jump on our story, that means we lose money. If you don't even ask, you're looked at as like a degenerate punk, And that's kind of cool. You don't jump on anybody's stories unless you ask.
What did you do before this? Before this career as a pap?
Dude, just don't call me Pat, man. Like, I prefer you call me photographer.
It sounds kind of like a stripper being asked to be called a dancer. You're not really dancing.
What the world doesn't know is we probably have the only right to do that. It's like a cop pulling you over. You're not gonna get pulled over for anybody else. We are photographers. We are paparazzi in a sense, and I'm wherever the celebrity will be, man. Wherever you are, I'll be there.
He also schooled me on the paparazzi circuit in its respective territories.
Any place that requires a valet, any bar, club, my studio, Supperclub, Boa. Go outside Boa and you'll see a gangload of paparazzi.
With this information at my disposal, I was ready to start my rampage of invasiveness. Gonna post up and try to hunt the hunters. My photographer and I headed straight for the guitar statue outside Boa, a popular nightclub on Sunset Boulevard frequented by celebrities.
Like, you're gonna go out and you're gonna step into another world, man. Like, you're gonna go out and try to take money from people. So people are gonna be a little defensive.
We see a huge guitar and there's two just shady looking dudes in beanies, and they look like the kind of guys that are willing to fight. We pulled up 2 blocks away. I'm starting to get nervous. We parked and went over our plan, which basically amounted to getting in their faces and asking increasingly personal and judgmental questions.
I'd be careful. Don't get too close.
A paparazzi is telling me to not get too close to the story. That's funny.
Hey, homie. How are you? Please tell us, what are you wearing right now? Who are you wearing? What does your underwear look like? Please tell us. Who are you with? Do you feel bad when you go home at night doing this to people? Do you like a pinky in the butt during sex? Sir. When you're getting a blowjob, do you like one single pinky in your butt? I'm not getting the scoop from you, dude. We want to know. Just one question, sir. Just one question. Do you smell the toilet paper after you wipe, sir? Do you go number 2 in the workplace?
Somehow, I think in this interview that you think you're holding on to some last shred of like what you're doing is on. It's not. You're taking pictures of celebrities at vulnerable moments without their permission. They don't know who you are.
You guys interview other people. How come I'm not allowed to interview you? Does this make you feel weird? Why, if you guys do this for a living, why are you so pissed off that we're doing it to you? I'm not in your face. I just have a quick question. Why are you hiding? Why is there so much shame behind what you're doing? You don't like your own medicine, bro. You don't like the way it feels to you, then why would you do that to your fellow man and woman? You're getting mad at me following you around trying to get a hot scoop, and that's what you're doing. That'd be like a butcher who's afraid of eating meat.
Why hide in bushes at a restaurant for Paris Hilton's tit to fall out? If you're such a photographer, why don't you go and shoot waves at Maui, or why don't
You want to fucking question my legitimacy? Let me ask you something. Do you have kids?
No.
Do you ever try to get a job and you couldn't get it? I went to places to try to get hired as a photographer and they wouldn't take me. Okay? You want to question my integrity? Hire me then. Fucking get me a fucking wedding gig. Do that for me, man. This is all I have. Fuck this fucking interview, dude. Fuck you, okay?
Alright, this is Steve for Vice Magazine. I thought we were going to have a really crazy story here. I heard stories of like Brazilian guys that love to fight. I thought we were going to encounter that, but what we encountered is a bunch of cowards. Most of these guys are just pussies and they're not down to scrap or do anything like that. So it was kind of a fun story, but it was anticlimactic. Like who these guys really are that you see the pictures like on TMZ, they're a bunch of scared guys who, I'm sitting here solo, kind of like a pussy myself, and they don't even want to make eye contact. So they feel bad about what they're doing, and it's kind of like grinding someone into the ground at this point. I'm gonna just take off. I feel bad. Later, guys. Thanks for playing, man. Thank you. Good night.
Really? we wanted to call that pap smear. I had to say pap smear on camera. Pap smear? Really? Next up, we meet sex blogger Rachel Rabbit White, who talks to us about transsexual stripper parties, clown fetishists, and how she certainly does not talk to her mom about her job.
Well, people think that they can have sex with me a lot.
I'm sure.
Yeah. People think they can have sex with me. And then people also think I'm a porn star always. So a lot of times people search, I see their Google searches, Rachel Rabbit White porn, Rachel Rabbit White porn star. Where is Rachel Rabbit White's porn? Like people really think I'm a porn star, and then it's very confusing for them that I'm not. And I totally understand why they would think that, because a lot of the people that are blogging about sex are in the sex industry. The name of my blog is my name, which is Rachel Rabbit White, so it's rachelrabbitwhite.com. I write about sex and gender and relationships. And basically you'll see more journalism style posts where I'm writing about other people's sex lives, kinky, crazy things. The second is more memoir type stuff and about my own life and my own relationships. And the third is advice. A lot of people ask me questions about their own sex lives, so I record videos where I try to help them and give them advice.
Okay, so despite what you may have learned in sex ed in 5th grade from your school nurse, I say that you should take sex advice from a woman wearing pastels and shoulder pads. I think a lot of guys feel the way that Grant and possibly you feel. They just want to suck. And why wouldn't they? Sucking is amazing. Okay, can you see me? All right, so I recently had a reader write in and ask me for tips taking sexy pictures. The great thing about this shot is that if you're doing it actually naked and really Craigslist style, it makes your tits look great no matter what. So if you don't have any boobs, kind of like me, it makes you look like all of a sudden that you do.
I started the blog working as an intake person at an egg donation clinic. And I knew I wanted to be a writer, and I knew I wanted to be writing, and I wasn't. So I started the blog to force myself to write. This might be interesting. These are like the slutty journals from like when I was like 21, before I was like seriously writing. I lived a pretty textured existence, and then I think part of the reason I'm starting the blog was working through my past, and part of the reason I was writing about sex is because I used to have a lot of sex and was having all these crazy stories. And like I'm wondering about what happens when you don't love someone anymore, and where does the love go? Like very overly dramatic, stuff that you would write when you're 20. But it's fun to have this stuff, and it's fun to go back and use it as writing fodder and to remember where my mind actually was when I'm writing about me as sort of a character at 20. But I think why I write about sex and relationships is because for a lot of young people, that's sort of like the biggest thing that's happened in your life. Like for a lot of young people, their biggest story is really that they lost their virginity or that they were broken up with. Like when you're in your 20s, I think these are the things that you're really grappling with. And also like just to sort of educate myself. Like I'm genuinely interested in what other people are doing and understanding what makes other people tick sexually. So when I'm writing about someone else's sex life, like maybe they like to have clown sex. I really don't understand it, and I want to go out and understand it and then bring it back to the readers, like here's what I found. If I weren't doing stories on these things, I would never be exposed to this world. And so and that's when I feel the most alive, is when I'm out getting stories and exposing myself to this sort of thing and running around the city. So I covered an all transsexual strip party in New York City. Okay, so I'm just gonna read you a few of my notes. So the women are in Moulin Rouge-inspired lingerie, all glitter and garter belts, dancing and stripping for a crowd of men. The men are of all ages and slink and hide in the corners in between approaching the women as they dance. I'm introduced to, and I don't have her name here, I'm gonna have to look it up. She's been throwing trans parties for a long time. She says these parties are completely different. First of all, this is a posh club, she says. There's also more focus on costumes, and they actually dance. So while there's a drag queen working the door, the place is not so much for a queer audience. The gays don't come, but even if they did, it might not work for what the promoter is looking for. He tells me that the guys that come here don't want to see two men kissing at this party, that this isn't what they're looking for, and this would scare them and cause them to leave. And then that's as far as I got. I'm not sure what the fetish is. I mean, definitely they want a penis. And these guys definitely, like the guy said, they didn't want gay men there. They didn't want to be reminded of the gay community. Like they were almost anti that. It's tough because I don't think there's a very good history of people reporting within these sort of like marginalized sex communities. So it's like this line I'm constantly walking where I admit if someone asks me that I'm a writer, and if they ask if I'm going to write about this, I say yes, but I try not to be so snarky. I really want to learn why they're doing what they're doing, but I'm also honest in my descriptions of them. I don't shy away from the ugly.
The combination of the internet and sex, making you feel worse about humanity day by day. Finally, we get another selection of bits and bytes on how to be a well-mannered adult in the 21st century. This is Etiquette Update with John Martin.
Multicolored socks, men's basketball, being bald, not classy. When you're in the bathroom, don't leave magazines on the toilet. Don't leave matches on top of the toilet. Breakfast burritos, adults watching cartoons, snowboarding. 14-year-olds on birth control, white socks, Velcro shoes, hats on backwards. Insulting your girlfriend at brunch, not classy. Number one, don't go to brunch. Number two, don't go to brunch with your girlfriend. Brunch is for drinking.
Hope you enjoyed another episode of Vice today. If you like the channel, please subscribe and keep an eye out for new episodes every Monday and Thursday.